nowadays, a lot of companies are asking for students who studied online. Because the thing is, like, as I told you,
So when you're into sales, there is no limitation for the learning at all. So, you will constantly learn so many things.
we found out there is less opportunities for freshers to get a job in cybersecurity. So what we did is we stopped that program.
Like, there is always this worst phase in sales. Like every salesperson would go through one phase where the sales will never happen.
Hi everyone, welcome back to GUVI channel and welcome back to GUVI Podcast. We are diving deep into another conversation of how a sales team is very, very important to build any business or a company. And we are in conversation with Mr. Deepak and with Mr. Gautam. So in previous episodes, right, we were talking about in-person and on-call sales, right? So how does it differ and what is the major pointers that you would say?
Like end of the day, sales, it's all about sales.
Of course.
So a company has to make revenue.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to IT sector, we are looking exclusively into IT sector. I would say more than 50 or 60% of the IT domains are still working remotely.
Yeah.
The reason why I had to bring this into this is because when the company is ready to hire remotely, when the company is actually looking for resources to work remotely, ultimately their expectation will also be a person, if they wanted to hire somebody, they will also be looking into a skill set or, a caliber to work independently.
Yeah.
So, when can a person work independently is if he has got trained online. Because if he has got trained offline, obviously he will be dependent on somebody. He will be relying on somebody. Okay, if I raise my hand, there will be someone and they will come and address my query. But that is not going to happen if you are working in an IT company. Nobody will be there to help you out. It is you who will have to stand for yourself. You will have to be very independent, and that is a kind of quality or the exposure any company out there is actually looking into. And that is exclusively why we are also providing all the courses online. So we are actually making you industry ready. We are actually making you project ready, I would say. So right from the day one, you will be able to work independently without relying on somebody.
Wow. That is you just connected the sales point of view to what is that GUVI is actually giving, right? Because when you said there will always be someone, when I raise a hand, there will be always that. And you just busted an entire myth everyone has on their life itself, because even in life you have to do everything by yourself, and even when you raise a hand, maybe there will be someone to help, but when you are getting trained like this, it is always you who have to do all of that. And especially in the sales aspect, that is the truth, right? So when you are when he said that, is that the same point of view you also
according
have?
to me, like in terms of same thing that he told was the exact expectation of the industry as well. Because nowadays, a lot of companies are asking for students who studied online. Because the thing is, like, as I told you, like once you're prepared in the system with GUVI for more than 6 months, studying online, doing the projects, tasks, assignments, because whatever you do there is exactly the people or, experienced people are going to do it. So in that case, what happens is these companies are requesting us for students who have studied online so that they have the entire system ready once they get onboarded in the companies as well. And that's a kind of a win-win for the company as well as the student. As I told you, we have working professionals working in different companies, training our students. People from Amazon, Zoho, Freshwork, they might be living in UK and they might be training students in here online. So that's the kind of a thing. And in terms of sales wise as well, that is the need of the hour now. So that becomes, we don't consider it as a sales. We are understanding what is there in the market. We train them according to the market and we give it to them. That makes the process easier for us.
Amazing. So I like how the question of sales and business development is moving to the students as well as into all of our lives actually, right? But when we say lives on day-to-day aspects, right, everyone gets calls, and it is going to be a sales representative or a business development executive, right? So when your team makes calls or anything, right? Definitely at some point anyone will get annoyed, right? For absolutely no reason. You would have called them for the first ever time. And how do you even handle that annoyance, and how do you get back? Because you have to also have that mental space of say like, hey, you know what, it's not personal, right? Because I would have done that if I had a busy day. So what is that you have, and how do you
we strongly believe that everybody is undergoing something in their life. Like, let's say, for example, we pick up the call, we talk to a student, they might be in some other scenario, some emergency or some scenario, we don't know what they're undergoing. So, but as I told you in the beginning, it's more about respect. So no matter what happens, no matter what the other person says, you have to be very kind to them. Give them the best respect that you can possibly give them, and give them the best, kind of, like, let's say, for example, if they're annoyed, tell them, ask them what are the times that they want, and let us call on that particular time. That simplifies the process, because people make things complicated. Because in GUVI sales team, we particularly believe in a process called simplifying the process. So because too much complication, builds in a lot of, system changes and stuff which we don't believe in terms of taking it forward. If anything like that happens, we make sure that we ask them the right time to call them, and we make sure that, they are, called at the right time and taking things forward.
So when you said how you would, take forward and how you would move forward, even if the other person on the call is annoyed. So definitely you would have made calls at the start of your career, right? So from there till now, are you also making calls even today?
Yes, eventually.
Yeah.
You think, yes.
Okay.
It's not going to be like, it doesn't have to be typically a sales call. So it can also be a normal call. If our teammates or, anybody for that matter is calling to you. So we should always apply this rule. No matter who is the person on the other end, we should always have that empathy and respect towards them. Because we'll never know what they are actually going through. Correct. But, when you are in sales, definitely you will understand this
Concept of how it is.
Definitely you will understand this journey, because you will never know when a customer is going to get frustrated or annoyed to you. The key to this is you will always have to, be very precise, and active listening is essential. Yes,
Yeah,
active
as we discussed before, yeah.
Active listening is really, really essential. And empathy towards customer, it's also a very key thing. Because so if you cannot go through what they are experiencing it, you will never be able to provide a possible solution for them. So, if your solution is not satisfying the customer, obviously he is going to get annoyed.
Yeah.
So, these three things: active listening, empathy, and possible solution.
Okay. So when we move towards, positive solutions, empathy and other things, definitely at some point, right, in the sales career and business development career, there comes, there was no data at first, right? Because say like you all started your career like 4 years, 5 years back, where, just then they were starting to collect data. It was entirely different where they collect data and how they, give you the prospectors or how they give you leads exactly, right? Yes, it was computerized. Yes, it was everything. But then the way they collect data is entirely different, right? And that would give you many, many more opportunities to make cold calls, right? So how would you handle, and what would be the one strategy that makes you handle a cold call?
To be frank, I know that, we've built on, he's become leaders, and I've also become a leader. In terms of now, I strongly believe that if you don't listen to what students or, customers are asking, you'll not know the industry. You'll be outdated actually. So normally what I do is sometimes, maybe once or twice a day, I pick up some, calls, and I listen to that, and I speak to few students as well to understand their needs, what is happening in the market. Because if you don't go to the ground level and understand what is happening, you cannot implement at the top level. Because ultimately, I believe that it's strongly bottom-up approach rather than top-bottom approach actually. Because that's what I strongly believe on. So now the lot of data are available in terms of before we call, when we used to do the calling some 6 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't have any data. We just get student name, email ID and phone number. Now we started collecting a lot of data. Let's say, for example, we started collecting which college they are from, whether they're working professional or not, what is their, like in terms of which company they're working, what field that they are in. So that will be useful for us in customizing programs for them and giving it to them. These data that we collect is also our data which will give them solutions because it's more about saving their time. Let's say he's currently working as a data scientist. We can tell them there is more scope for machine learning and artificial intelligence, which he can upskill and take it forward with that. Another data coming into the most important part. It's not only about sales. It's about, let's say for example, we had something called cybersecurity program. Okay, cybersecurity program some 3 years ago that we launched it, and after one particular batch or 2 batches, we had placed most of the students. In 90 to 85% to 90% of the students have got placed. 10% have been done their assignments and stuff like that. So they are undergoing the process of completing. So what happened is we understood data as per the market. Let's say for example, we understood that 2 years ago itself, we found out there is less opportunities for freshers to get a job in cybersecurity. So what we did is we stopped that program. There are a lot of students who are requesting for us to start the program, but we told them clearly there is less opportunity in cybersecurity for freshers once you started fresh. So we're going to stop that program, and we can upskill you on some other program which has job opportunities. Because the students who are coming to us are trusting us in coming. They believe that, that we are going to make an impact. So we have to understand their requirement. We have to customize the program or bring in programs that will help them get placed and get things started. These are the impacts of data that we are working on actually.
That's amazing, because on that particular point, I just wanted to ask that, does selling, right, always have a pattern? Because it usually is like you pick up the phone or you look at the person and usually they say there is a pattern. Is that true, or does it differ?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely
Okay.
not.
Yeah. Okay.
You cannot accommodate a complete sales process into one pattern.
Okay.
Because people out there have so many expectations. People out there have so much of need. Like one pattern will not definitely be matching all their expectations or requirement.
True.
All right. So we will have to tailor. We will have to customize, and personalization is very essential. And that is why, like all the courses under the Zen that we offer, it's completely customizable.
Yeah.
So like as per the students' requirement or demand, we make certain customizations in the courses so that they get satisfied as well as they'll be industry ready.
Okay. So when we are talking about EdTech and when we are talking about GUVI, yes, we understand, and even our listeners right now, they would understand that these courses are tailor made for them. But is that the same for all the other industries and sales in general? Does it have a pattern for every other industry, or is that all about customization even for every other industry?
You take any industry or any company that you take, it varies based on their requirements. But for us in GUVI, we are a strong customer-driven organization where we listen to. There's something called voice of customer.
Yeah.
There's something called like Six Sigma. I believe that a lot of people think that it's operational based, but few of us sales team members, and I've done a particular black belt in Six Sigma for completing that operational efficiency that we do. So in that, what we do is we have series of customer voice driven requirements that they have, surveys that we do. So what we do is we get these requirements in hand. We use the AI tool in that. So what we do is we get data according to the requirements of the students every single month. This particular month, these many students ask these many courses to you. In that case, we understand the demand of that and we give it to the product team. So they develop that product and they build it as a whole. And like that only we are, to be frank, we are about to launch multiple, courses. We are about to launch some banking courses, which is their demand. Because when I went there for a program in IIM, so I connected with a lot of these bank people. So they gave requirements stating that, see, you're doing courses. So what I can do from my end is, I will take these courses, design the curriculum, give it to you guys, you train them, and you give the students back to us. So ultimately what happens, it's fulfilling their needs as well, and it fulfills the student needs as well. The demand is satisfied. So that's what, it's helping us to do.
So while we are talking about what are the needs that, customers have, and how should you be able to look at it, and you should be able to match the market standard, etc. Right? What skills have you guys acquired, as business development and sales professionals, and what should be the skills that the aspirants should acquire to be where you guys are today? Yeah.
So when you're into sales, there is no limitation for the learning at all. So, you will constantly learn so many things.
Yeah.
It could be intentional or it could be unintentional. Anyway, you're going to learn something new each and every day.
Yeah.
So it could be, philosophical. So it could also be like something which is emotional, and it could be anything. So you're going to learn so much of things. You'll just have to make sure that you're open to learn all these things. And, few things that I have learned over the period of years is, first thing is like rapport. So when it comes to sales, rapport plays a very vital role, because that is one bonding that we can create. So if that bonding is there, definitely, we will be able to understand what is their need. At the same time, we will be able to deliver with the most probable and possible
Solution, yeah.
And second thing is consistency. Consistency plays a very, 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 very important role. So, consistency can be in terms of so many aspects.
Yeah.
So, it can be, you can be consistent in calling, you can be consistent in follow-ups, you can be consistent in providing them with the right course. There are, efficiency in general.
Yeah.
All right. And the third thing is rigorous follow-ups.
Yeah.
You can never say no to a customer.
Yeah.
You can
does that customer is the king
yes,
circling back
yes,
here as
yes,
well?
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah.
Customer is always right, and customer is always the king. So you can never say it could be 7 a.m. in the morning, or it can be 12 p.m. in the afternoon, or it can also be like 3 a.m. in the early morning. So if he calls, if you are available, you should make sure you're picking the call.
Okay. So what do you think that what you have acquired over the years, and what should an aspirant also have, as Gautam was adding on his points?
So according to me, to be frank, I'm not that talented and stuff like that. To be frank, I'm a person who strongly believes in always hiring better than me. Because my, Gautam is there, he's the best, in terms of the manager that I have are the best people that I have in the entire system. Because that kind of a confidence that you need to have in the people. And I strongly believe that talent is not needed to become, into any other field. There are 10 things that you can follow that I strongly believe if you have the 10 qualities, you can survive in any field that you want and excel in that particular field. First is being on time. Anything that you take, any field that you take, if you are on time, starting early and being the last person to get out of the office, so you're going to be successful automatically. And there are, stuffs I've seen in people, because this person, sitting here, Gautam, he'll be most of the time there in the office. Even though we are giving them work from home, this person would be there in the office, sitting there, understanding what all students are requirement, everything. That shows us, kind of a commitment towards the job and stuff. These are first skill actually. Next one is the work ethic. So work ethic is very, very important. So there are two ethics that you can follow. One is being ethical. Another is work ethic that you have to follow. So work ethic is, one is, as I told you, being ethical. Work ethic, what do you mean by that is we're working from home. So there is a saying that goes like this, don't work when others are watching you. Work when you wanted to work. So the problem here is there are people who are working because others are watching them that they have to work basically. But if you're self-driven, when we started off our career, like Gautam, me and Sumita and all the managers when we started off, the effort that we put in is humongous. Because when we started off, we had offline batches that we were there, as I told you. Whatever students' requirement is, we have to be there fulfilling, as he told. But now we have brought in a system after working hours, we should not work. But it is a kind of a system that we like, let's say, for example, even if I tell them not to work, these guys will be, available at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Because I know that, they'll be available, because it's my duty to make sure that they put in the effort, but they have to take care of their family and well-being as well. That is the thing that we follow. And the fourth one that we follow is the body language. So how you speak, how you are positive, and how you can present yourself is how it matters. Because ultimately what happens here is there are a lot of institutes, a lot of companies who do this video conferencing or directly reach the students and take it forward. We as an organization, we have to do mostly on call, and that call has to be an impactful call. So what you present is your voice. If you're not positive on your voice, obviously the student will feel low. Because we as a person or a team, we believe that the students who's getting onboarded is going to get impacted, through their life. So we have to be confident of ourselves, and that's how body language presents. And the energy, obviously body language, energy goes in hand, and the attitude. So there's again saying, your altitude is divided by your attitude actually. So in that case, we have to have that positive attitude. No matter what, being in sales or business development, it's about failures. Each and every day, let's say for example, you call to 200 people, only one will come and take it up. 199 times you're failing. If you check on the failures, you'll not be successful checking on that. Maybe your last call on the last day can be the person who's going to get onboarded, who you are going to uplift their life and take it forward. That opportunity you should not miss and take it forward. And another thing here is the passion. So obviously, if you're not passionate about what you do, and each and every day would be kind of a struggle for you.
And yeah, two engineers would not be sitting here and talking very passionately about, sales and business development as well.
So, and the 8th one would be being coachable.
Being coachable.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of people who, let's say for example, I'll take my example itself. Arun sir trusted me a lot. So in 2019, when I started off, 2020 or 21 itself, he gave me the head of sales designation. So just the trust that he had on me, I need to make sure that I am worthy of what I've got actually. I need to be coachable. I need to understand what is happening in the market. I need to learn from others, what is happening in the surrounding. And that is the trust that he had on me, so that he knew that I was coachable. That's the kind of an elevation that I've had now to this particular position. So being coachable is a very important skill to have, which will take you to places. That's what I strongly believe on. And doing extra. So no matter what, let's say for example, if there is a KRA or KPI that is given to you, you go one extra bit of it. That extra would make a lot of impact, because that is when people trust on you. People will believe you. Giving that extra responsibility is doing that extra thing that is required. And the 10th one would be basically being prepared. Now, let's say for example, there are a lot of students who are preparing for a lot of things. People who've joined the course, and being prepared for their interviews from day one is very important. So same thing for this particular job role as well. So no matter what you do, if you're well prepared in advance on what all skills that is required, you prepare yourself, equip yourself with that particular thing, it's more than enough. These are the 10 particular, skills that is required. You don't need to have this talent to have the skill. If you do this, automatically you can go to different heights.
Is there anything else you want to add on top of this?
Adding to this, whatever the 10 points Mr. Deepak Bro has added, like all these 10 skills require zero talent. So, that is where it all started from. Like I have a classic example. This happened to myself. This happened to me. There is always this worst phase in sales. Like every salesperson would go through one phase where the sales will never happen.
Whoa.
Okay.
So,
it is very common, and people who are watching this will definitely be able to relate themselves to it. And that is the phase where they'll feel very low. And yes, this has happened to me. And what I called him, and I've told them the scenario. Boss, I have called these many numbers. I've called 180 calls. I have dialed 180 calls, and I have created these many positives. Yeah. But still, the conversion has not happened. And the one immediate response that I've got from him is, dial 10 more calls and call me after that. I did it. I didn't deny. I didn't reply back anything. I told him, okay, I'll do. And I was like in a mindset, okay, I'm going to dial 10 calls and I'm going to call back to him and I'm going to tell him that it didn't work out. But this 10 calls took me hardly 40 minutes. But that day I ended up with 4 conversions.
Whoa. From that 10 calls itself.
Yes.
Oh,
so,
wow.
When I called him, when I responded, when I told him that this has happened, the one solution or one response that I've got from him is, you'll never know what is going to happen in your next call. The next 2 calls could be your conversions.
Yeah.
And from that time onwards, like if 7:30 is my, that is where I end my day, I usually, end up doing another 10 calls from the 7:30.
Great. So we are actually ending this particular episode with lot and lots of, learning, lot and lots of lessons and everything. And hope it is helpful for all the aspirants, and the stories that you had, both of you, how you achieved and how, you got the students, at GUVI to reach what their own heights and other things. It's very inspiring to hear all of that, right? And we will delve more into how business development and sales together are very important for any business and company in the coming episode as well.